The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is brought to you by Clinica Sierra Vista.
Welcome back to the 17 News at Sunrise podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. I'm Maddie Jansen alongside Alex Fisher. A small mountain community in Kern County is buzzing with excitement this morning. That's because someone who bought a PowerBall lottery ticket in town became $1.76 billion richer.
Yeah, but for most people this morning are still wondering, who is that lucky person? 17's Aaliyah Fitzgerald, she is live this morning. She is back up in Frazier Park where the frenzy continues. Good morning, Aaliyah.
Good morning, you guys. It has been a crazy past 24 hours for Frazier Park. We're talking about small town, small population 3,000, and it was right here where the nationwide ticket of $1.76 billion was sold. Now, we still don't know who that billionaire is, but rest assured we will know, because California does have a disclosure policy where you do have to disclose your name. So definitely rest assured we will know. And yesterday was a media circus frenzy. Several reporters and photographers crowded this small liquor store trying to get a word from the owner. It's an exciting time for him as well, as he gets a cut of that prize money worth $1 million. Here's what he said he's going to do with all that cash.
I only get half of the money. The other half goes to my brother. I want to make sure my kids have enough funds for the college.
So keep in mind that after taxes, that $1 million, he also still has to split with his brother. So after taxes, it ends up being, and the splitting, it ends up being about $330,000. So, I mean, if he has several kids to put through college, that'll go away very, very shortly. Now, we are suspecting that this person who is the winning ticket holder is in Frazier Park, as this is only a few miles off of the I-5, but we'll keep you updated with any updates that we get in the meantime. This is not the only jackpot that's been won in Kern County. Back in 2011, we did see a jackpot for 51 of the Mega Millions lottery. Now that is only a fraction of the billionaire here in Frazier Park. In Frazier Park, Aaliyah Fitzgerald, 17 News, back to you.
And we turn to Crime Watch, and an anonymous tip has led to the arrest of 4 Bakersfield High School students. A Kern High School district official tells us it happened when district police confiscated a gun. A message was sent to all parents and guardians yesterday about the situation. The Kern High School District Police are investigating. District officials say there is no indication the student intended to use the weapon at school. The district says student safety is a top priority, and they want to continue to encourage students, if they see something, say something.
17 Court Watch now. A new assistant presiding judge has been selected for the Kern County Superior Court. Judge John Lua was selected. He succeeds Colette Humphrey, who completed a 4-year leadership term. Judge Lua said he's excited for the chance to serve in this capacity. He was appointed to the Superior Court of California in 2010 and has been assigned to the criminal division and presided over misdemeanor and felony trials.
6 years, 4 months. That is the sentence for a man who caused a crash that seriously hurt 2 bicyclists. Back in May, a Kern County jury found Joshua Ramage guilty on all charges in connection with the crash that happened back in 2021. Prosecutors say he was driving west in the slow lane of Stockdale Highway when he crashed into 2 bicyclists, leaving one with a serious brain injury and lying in a vegetative state. The jury convicted Ramage of driving under the influence and hit and run, causing death or permanent serious injury.
Turning now to our coverage of Kern County's fentanyl crisis. A local organization is raising awareness about the increasing number of fentanyl overdoses, and they want more people to have access to Narcan.
We want to make sure that people are talking about it, that we're getting rid of the stigma, because people self-medicate for a lot of different reasons, and we need to be there for them. We need to be able to talk openly to make sure that they have access to these tools.
The Bakersfield AIDS Project handed out 600 doses of Narcan in hopes it will save lives. They also handed out fentanyl test strips. The organization says within the last year there have been nearly 3,000 lives saved with this overdose reversal drug. The Bakersfield AIDS Project hands out fentanyl test strips, Narcan, and other harm reduction supplies at Wild Park on Q Street every Saturday from 1 to 3 p.m.
From our 17 follow-up file, it has now been 38 weeks since 2 Bakersfield police officers were involved in a deadly crash. It happened January 19th in Lamont, in the area of a pursuit involving another officer in a stolen pickup. Lawyers allege the officers had their lights and sirens off when they failed to stop at a stop sign and T-boned a vehicle, killing Mario Lares and leaving his passenger with major injuries. The Highway Patrol has declined to answer these questions about the incident as investigators weigh manslaughter charges against the driver of the patrol car. You can find more on this story on our website, kget.com.
Making news around the world, turning to our coverage of the Israel-Hamas war. We're taking you out live to Gaza this morning. Right now, Israel's ordering more than 1 million people living in northern Gaza to evacuate within 24 hours. But the UN says there's no way to evacuate that many people in that short of time. Just this morning, Hamas announced that Israeli hostages had been killed in Israeli bombings. All of this playing out as Secretary of State Antony Blinken will join leaders of Arabic nations and the Palestinian Authority to ensure the fighting does not spread to neighboring countries. NBC's Bree Jackson is in Washington with details.
As the war between Israel and Hamas militants rages on, the Biden administration is working with regional partners on efforts to help prevent this conflict from spreading.
What we've seen here is something, to most of us, almost unimaginable.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken arriving in Jordan this morning. He was on the ground in Israel Thursday, getting a first-hand look at the aftermath of Saturday's surprise attack, delivering a message of support to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and survivors.
The outpouring of support has been incredible in the United States, and again, it's very, very heartfelt, and you can count on it. It'll be there.
As the fighting continues, the Biden administration says it's working to get Americans out of harm's way.
The United States government will arrange charter flights to provide transportation from Israel to sites in Europe.
In Washington, D.C. Thursday night, lawmakers held a vigil on the steps of the U.S. Capitol to remember the lives lost, standing in solidarity with Israel while strongly condemning the assault by Hamas.
Because we cannot let these terrorists, this ISIS-like, Nazi-like people win.
The U.S. is considering providing more resources to help Israel, complicating the matter, uncertainty over who will be the next House Speaker. And the clock is ticking for the House to elect a new speaker. Among other things, new aid for Israel could be tied up as this fight drags on. Members of Congress are expected to receive a classified briefing on the situation in Israel next week. In Washington, Bree Jackson, NBC News.
Meantime, Capitol chaos continues as Republicans struggle to find a new leader. Louisiana Congressman Steve Scalise is pulling himself out of the race to be the next Speaker of the House. The race was initially triggered last week when Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz made a motion to vacate the chair of the Speaker and won a majority vote when all Democrats and 8 Republicans voted against former Speaker and Bakersfield Congressman Kevin McCarthy. Scalise's announcement comes a little more than 24 hours after being nominated by House Republicans to replace McCarthy. Now it remains unclear if Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan, who is also running to be Speaker, can now secure the nomination from Republicans, or if he could get enough votes on the House floor.
The Bakersfield City Council voted this week on a resolution to ban all future COVID-19 mandates. It passed 3-1 with Vice Mayor Andre Gonzalez the sole dissenting vote. 17's Jenny Huh has more.
Motion is approved, with Vice Mayor Gonzalez voting no.
A lone dissenting vote by Vice Mayor Andre Gonzalez.
This is nothing more but a performance piece. It's performative in nature. No one's talking about shutdowns on our roadway right now. I don't think this is necessary. I'm not in support. Thanks.
Now, all future COVID-19 mandates like masking and social distancing will not be enforced in Bakersfield, even if there are county, state, or federal mandates. In places within the city's jurisdiction, like public buildings and city parks, residents can choose whether to follow mandates. But this excludes schools and hospitals, per City Attorney Virginia Gennaro.
Why wasn't this coming up 3.5 years ago.
Why now? Because COVID is out there. It is not going away. And mandates aren't going to prevent it.
Gonzalez tells 17 News half the absent council members, Eric Arias of Ward 1, Bob Smith of Ward 4, and Manpreet Kaur of Ward 7 voted, the resolution would have failed. Kaur confirms she would have voted no, but couldn't make it because of work. Arias also says he would have voted in opposition, but had an unexpected emergency. He told 17 News on Monday this resolution is a partisan distraction. Smith could not be reached for comment on his absence.
When did any healthcare provider provide, without consent, an administration of a vaccine? What evidence do we have that that occurred in the city of Bakersfield?
I don't have evidence of that, and I hope it never happens.
Well, it didn't happen.
We certainly don't want it to happen.
And it didn't happen, for the record. That did not occur.
I don't know that.
I do know that because I talked to the public health director earlier today.
Well, that
there's
doesn't
no
mean
evidence of it.
anything to me.
On the legal liabilities of not following county or state mandates, Gennaro says we'll cross that bridge if and when we get there. If there are no mandates, the resolution wouldn't matter. Jenny Huh, 17 News.
Per city spokesperson Joe Conroy, Bakersfield never enforced any local mandates. Following county, state, and federal guidelines was encouraged, and those in the city government had to wear masks and social distance, but there were no active enforcements for day-to-day residents.
The 24th annual Kern County Veterans Stand Down helped local vets yesterday. It was hosted by the California Veterans Assistance Foundation, and all veterans were invited to attend and take advantage of the available resources. The Stand Down is a safe retreat for all veterans and their dependents, including homeless vets. The event was held at Frazier Park with free health screenings, haircuts, clothing, pet food, and more. The event brings more than 100 services to one location, making them more accessible.
We not only want to get a veteran who is on the streets, but we want to make sure that we're serving veterans that maybe can't pay their rent or got a 3-day pay or quit, so we can try to intervene before they get evicted or become homeless themselves. The second population, which is the resource part, is for all veterans of Kern County.
Last year they served more than 450 veterans, and yesterday there were more out there. If you missed the event and need assistance, you can contact the Kern County Veterans Service Department on Golden State Avenue.
The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.